On the charred remains of a world long ago fallen, a single being puttered about. VRX-77 moved swiftly, walking through the carefully constructed compound to the alarm annoyingly beeping in every room. Gleaming silver walls were a stark contrast to the burning red sky and roasted brown dust that lay outside, a barren wasteland where nothing thrived. VRX-77's own body was a similar hue, a sleek silver form with hints of ruby woven throughout. Its heavy steps were soundless, however, muffled by one of the multitude of internal devices active at all times. Quieter footsteps were merely one small aspect, a drop in the bucket compared to the chronoflow disruptor, spatial relocator, multi-layer energy barriers, and the nigh-endless array of offensive weapons at its disposal. Still, for a metal being living in a metal compound, the clanging from each step was almost inescapable otherwise, so one might argue VRX-77 gained more benefit from the reduced audio annoyance than its more advanced features. Of course that didn't help much when that infernal beeping wouldn't stop. VRX-77 had no one else to blame. It had created the noise itself, purposely chosen to be as grating as possible. When centering the majority of its attention on a project, external stimuli were often ignored, so a sound that was impossible to ignore had been necessary for this particular alarm. No matter what other project might be at hand, this was a notice VRX-77 always wanted to catch. Arriving at the heart of the compound, VRX-77 stood before a massive wall of monitors and tapped a single button on a waiting keyboard. With that single motion, the alarm cut off at last. What arose in its place was a cavalcade of images, data, and other tidbits cycling through the dozen-plus screens that were now active. VRX-77 studied them carefully, occasionally tapping another button to pause at a particular frame of information. The automated detection algorithm was working as intended. All signs were indeed present. In one of the technically endless sections of the multiverse, a dimensional nova was building. Judging by the readings, there were perhaps a handful of days in the adjacent universes before it erupted.